throughout life there are objects which people have attachment to and fondness of. John Cage talks about an object having an inner sound. You can't separate that noise from that table. You hit metal, I'm not finding too many objects around me, but you've hit you tap an object, and that sound, you cannot separate that sound from that object. And I tried in some way to make that kind of connection with the visual world. And I started to think about the idea that there are some objects that you cannot separate its form from itself. It's not its sound, but its form. And with that, you can transmit some kind of essence to, capture its essence visually. I don't know where my passion necessary for fire comes from, but my interest in energy, I think, is the starting point. I think whether it be the energy of fire, the energy of magnets, the energy of ice, heat, those sort of things are the sort of areas I was very much interested in when I was a student, and I've sort of followed through. I like the idea of using materials and working with them and getting to know them. I think is very, very important. And it's not just using them; it's understanding them. I mean, in Piero della Francesco's period, that you'd have to grind your own paint. You'd have to work on that level to use it. And I think the importance of the pigment became, an integral part of the work. Some woods are wonderful. The harder woods can create wonderful black drawings, very dense drawings. So yes, one is very much determined by the wood, the type of wood, the size of wood, the size of the object. All those things are effectively predetermining the type of drawing. I don't have a plan. I suppose you get to know your subject, your material over a period of time, and I just like the examination of material and finding a purpose to use it and to take it to an understanding beyond what everybody just normally sees as sort of as something burnt and something which is ready to be discarded. The object becomes the subject, becomes the instrument, becomes the thing, there's a sort of an involved package which is evolving. The position of the table is very simple. I just try to capture or create an idea that it's not earthbound, that it's in some ways moving away from an earthbound situation. And I'm not saying moving into heaven, I'm just saying moving into another dimension. Shadows. shadows have been very important in my work for many years. If you're dealing with objects, you've got a shadow. There's a lovely story about the man who lost his shadow by Gunter Grass, and the man lost his identity. I'm not suggesting that the object loses its identity, but I'm actually turning it the other way around. I'm suggesting that if you burn something, and a lot of people say, oh, they want to get rid of this, they want to get rid of that, and they throw it on the fire, and they think it's gone. But you can't lose anything. If you talk to a scientist, you don't lose energy, it's just transformed in some way. Yeah, I mean, you hear the story of somebody saying, the white piece of paper is the most difficult thing to do. The white wall, which is 5.5 meters by 10 meters, is another thing altogether. And you don't know how the wood's going to burn. You don't know if there's going to be other problems, but you just have to go for it. And I can only just say that for me the energy of the fire, burning the wood, transforming that into charcoal, and then taking that object through into a whole process of drawing gestures and mark making techniques to lose that object back into its shadow. I talk about the phoenix bird. A lot of the drawings have the title Phoenix Bowl, Phoenix Table, with the idea that this old table, this discarded element of society, has been in some way not rescued, but been given a new energy, has been transformed into from reality into abstraction, if you like. Now, I'm not talking about abstraction purely as an art language. I'm talking about it as a bigger concept. An object is abstract if it's lost, if it's gone, and I'm making, through the process of drawing, using that as the black square as the most simple drawn object way. But for me, it is very much, and it is a love of this transformation of this energy, or using energy to transform something from one thing to another thing. In the exhibition here, I mean, the invitation from Philippe Seronique to draw on the walls is fantastic, because rarely do you get the opportunity to draw on walls which are 5.5 meters high. And when you look at the drawings in the space, they look like little calligraphy marks, but they're, I've taken my whole energy to draw a line right across, and whether it be the smell, whether it be the scale, whether it be the directness of the drawing on the wall rather than working on a piece of paper, working on a canvas, all these things are about trying to stretch the visual language that little bit further. I think the chair has very much been part of my work for some years. And a wooden chair is got a human scale, and it's very much an object which is recognizable. If you burn other objects other than things such as domestic objects, a spoon, a chair, a table, these are familiar objects. We've seen their shadows, we've seen them around, they're very much of a human scale. The chair minus one leg. This piece is called...
Does shit falling?
Chair, no, it's called chair guarding its own shadow. Because in the museum, you have chairs in the corners, but they're never supposed to be art. They're where the security guard sits. But the security guard is never sitting on the chair, because he's talking to his mate around the corner. So it's the chair that's looking after the artwork. Yeah. So here you have the chair guarding its own shadow. I like the ephemerality of drawing directly on the wall, and I like the directness. And I think that's very, very important for any part of my work, to have that very immediate, ephemeral quality. I like the primitiveness of it. I like the directness of the drawing. There's no going back. You can't make a mistake. You can't rub it out. It's there, and I like that directness. And I don't know whether it's primitive, but it's more immediate. That's what I like about it.